Hi, I want to show you something really cool. Are you ready? Ta-da! Oh yeah! Whoa!
I love you.
Ooh yeah! Oh, yep. I'm 44. Oh! Now that I've taken some pain medication, here we have the xTool S1. It is the first fully enclosed diode laser. That means that it is completely sealed up, and as long as you have it vented out a window or hooked up to an air purification box, you're not going to get nasty smoke and fumes in your house and into your fabric. All that fabric that we buy but never use, even if we have the best of intentions. I'm looking at you. I can see into your soul. Now, before I dive into the features and the reasons why I will not stop using this and will never let it go from my site, I do want to mention xTool did provide me with this machine. However, they are not paying me for this video, so all of the opinions are my own. Also, I went ahead and I purchased the air purifier with my own ding-dang money because I loved it that much. So I've already gone through the fact that it's enclosed, which is fantastic. And the other thing that you can notice off the bat is the size. So I just bought a kitchen cart off of Amazon. I'll leave the link below in case you want it. It's not heavy. It's maybe 40, 45 pounds. But the size of it and the bed size for the working area is the same as a desktop CO2 laser. Your popular brands like Glowforge and Omtech Polar and the G-Wick Cloud. In fact, if we open this up, you can go ahead and look inside and see how much space you have to work with. Now, I did do a review of the xTool M1, which is a combination of a blade and a diode laser machine. I did that review a couple of months ago, and while I absolutely loved it and would have brought that up here instead of this, I needed a little bit more workspace for the kinds of things that I'm doing, and I felt a little limited by its size. This, however, no issues. You may have noticed that I have a 20-watt laser head unit in here, and there have been a lot of reviews from people with 40-watt units, so you might be a little confused. But the fun thing is you're not stuck with whatever laser head you purchase to come with the machine. In fact, you can change that out if you want to later on. You can have both of the units and use them as needed. That's really important to note because the higher wattage units are typically for cutting thicker materials, and the lower wattage units are better for detailed engravings, which is largely what I want to do up here because of the leatherette stuff that I do, where I make notebooks and wristbands and all kinds of fun things. But, you know, if I'm cutting fabric, it's not like I need a 40-watt diode. Let's talk about speed. When I do the foil-lined leatherette, I'm actually running this machine at the exact same speed and relatively the same amount of power as I was doing with the desktop laser that I had that was a CO2 laser. Now, that isn't to say that this laser is something that's comparable to a CO2 desktop laser, but it's definitely going to give it a run for its money. But that's not going to be in a category where you would expect to do like clear or translucent acrylics, because again, it's still a blue light source laser. It's not going to cut through those things. What it will do, however, is give you very beautiful and consistent results, especially with certain kinds of material like this foil-lined leatherette. I am filming this in the daytime, so it might be hard to get a sense for it, but the LED lighting in here is fantastic. You can see everything that is going on with this laser, and you don't have to worry about it being too dark for accurate placement. Actually, let's just take a moment to just bend the camera down so I can hold my hand up and you can see how well that lighting is. So there's basically an LED light strip right up here that is lighting the entire machine's interior, and it's good. You can see everything. Now, as far as focusing goes, while you can manually focus the machine, it comes with an autofocus detector. So this basically, in their software, you can tell it to find the focus. It will drop down until this needle touches the material, then move across and use a reference panel to figure out exact focus. And by exact, I mean right down to the 1/10 of a millimeter. For positioning, it's as easy as sliding the laser head over and pulling the gantry forward or backward, whatever you see fit to do. Do mind that if you are going to be doing engraving, your speed of engraving is going to determine how much buffer you need on either side of the machine. So if you're going to do a faster speed, like 300 millimeters per second or higher, it might not let you do your engravings way over here on the edge of the work area because it needs that swing to get going. And that, I would say, is just physics. Now, once I have things positioned, I can put my fabric down however I like, and you can see that there is a red crosshair. Actually, I'll just zoom in so you can actually see the darn thing. But there's the red crosshair, and so I can basically try to minimize the waste of fabric by getting that just right. And this red crosshair will show up in the xTool software and in Lightburn. Now, they do give you these awesome magnets to hold your materials down. I love these, and I'm probably going to buy a lot more of them because I need more than 4 sometimes. It depends really on the size of the area I'm engraving. And I want to hold all things down, and especially with this leatherette that's foil lined, focus and everything is super important. Now I'm gonna just slide this up a little bit more, and I don't like to pull on the laser head, so I pull on the gantry a bit. And I'll just pull that down. Now, if you couldn't see what I was doing because my arm was in the way, I'm just grabbing like right back here, the lip behind the bar. You don't really want to touch the bar. It's greasy anyway. So I'm just going to bring that down till it's right in front of the magnet. And now we can go look at the software. So here is the xTool Creative Space, which is the software that they provide. You can use Lightburn. I just choose not to because I don't use either software package to really design things. I just use them to tell the laser what to do. Also, I can talk to the xTool S1 using Wi-Fi instead of dragging a really long USB-C cable across the room to talk to it through Lightburn. So as you can see here, I've got my bag labels ready to go. I'm just going to select them and move them so that the top left corner is just inside the crosshair on the right and below. And that's going to ensure that it is in the area that I had set it, because it's going to always start from the top left unless you tell it otherwise. Now, if I click on each layer, it's going to pop up its settings, and you can actually tell it if you want it to score, engrave, or cut. Now, I do have a manual setting here. This is a file that I've loaded. However, I do actually have a foil leather engraving setting that I have created, and I could just click on that. But these are the correct settings for me. Now here we have the layer panel, and it is going to be ordered from top to bottom in terms of execution. So we have our first layer, which is going to be an engraving, and the second layer, which normally would be a cut, but I'm actually going to just use the S1 to score the lines. I have a really good reason for that, and the reason being, oftentimes these materials that I use for the leatherettes, they char and spew off a lot of ash. And so to reduce the amount of time that I have to spend cleaning the edges before I ship them out to customers, I just prefer to score the lines just enough to not necessarily make a cut, but perforate it, and then I just cut them manually by hand, with my hands, not with scissors. When you're ready to actually get going, you can just click off of all of your layers. Don't have anything down here selected, and you can go to the panel with the laser, and you can just click on the focus circle here. It looks like a target reticle, and you click that, and it will do the measurement. So here we go with the autofocus. And you can see how it drops the measurement tool and moves over, and it does a little comparison. Boop. And that's how you achieve your focus. Now, I am actually going to change this just a smidge, so it did measure it very accurately. However, when it comes to the foil-lined leatherettes, you do want to defocus about 3 millimeters. So we have 15.2 as the distance it's using for the focus. So I'm going to drop that down to 12.2 to make sure that everything looks great in the final result. You can double check your framing in the software by pressing the framing button, which will send the information to the laser, at which point you have to press the button. And off it'll go. It's just gonna do an outline. When you verified everything, got it all in place, you can do framing complete and go on to process. It's going to just bring up the preview screen so you can see everything, and you can frame again here if you like. I just always do it on the previous scene so I can make sure that I don't need to move the laser head around just to get things right. So then I'm gonna press start and it sends the file off to the machine. Oh, what's this? It's got safety features, and I'm glad it does because I've gone off into ADHD mania and completely forgot I left it open while recording. If you have pets or kids, that's a really good feature to have. Once you've corrected the safety mistake, go ahead and press the start button. Now it's going to send it to the machine, and you can press the start button to watch it do its thing. Awesome. It's done. I'm going to take it out of here so we can get a good look at it. That's nice. That is so nice. Just bring that over so I can show you. Look at that. It didn't skip a beat. So you can see over here we have what I was doing with my CO2 laser, which again is a great laser, just not so much for these leatherettes. Just wildly inconsistent, even with the same settings and the same materials in between takes. This is the diode. Everything looks so good. It didn't miss any of the features and it engraved it perfectly. The best part is nothing smells. This stuff stinks to high heaven, and I smell nothing in here. And of course, I'm also using this to engrave other materials and cut out fabric. Cutting out tiny doll clothes has been a joy, and I'm of course cutting out tiny versions of my bag patterns for the dolls because who wouldn't? I can set my fabric down, set it to cut, and go and do something else while it's cutting, thus increasing my productivity. Also, I absolutely hate cutting out fabric. Don't tell my friend Tony, but I might actually try quilting since I don't have to cut all the pieces. One quick feature that I need to talk about, but of course it didn't demonstrate in the video, is you can actually engrave curved surfaces. If you're using their software, it has the ability to calibrate for the curved surface, whether it be convex or concave. This allows you to engrave things like flasks or even bowls. In addition to the air purification unit that you can buy as an accessory, you can also have a rotary unit. You can buy a riser to lift this, which you're going to probably need with the rotary unit, depending on what you want to do. And you can increase the amount of space that you have to work with by getting the rail system for pass-through. Cool. Let's go back to the desk and talk about pricing. So xTool offers a couple different ways for you to acquire your own S1. You can buy them in bundles so that you actually get some of the accessories with them depending on what it is that you want to do with the machine. The basic kit comes with the honeycomb and the automatic air assist. I suggest that you get at least that, but there are other bundles, even one that includes the air purifier. If you're going to be putting this indoors and not vent it out a window the way that I have, highly recommend getting the air purifier. I've had that for the past few days and I don't smell anything in here, whereas trying to chuck the tube out the window really wasn't cutting it. There's even a bundle for people who prefer to focus on rotary work, such as making tumblers, mugs, or other round objects. In any case, the basic bundle at the time of this recording for a 20 watt goes for about $1,900. The 40 watt base kit is closer to $2,400. That is a bit more expensive than the other diode lasers that I've been showing off in recent months. However, I would say that the ability for it to be fully enclosed safe, and ventilated is priceless. Not only that, but you're not stuck with whatever laser head you choose. So if you want to start with the 20-watt version and then upgrade later to get 40 watts, you don't have to buy an entire new machine, you just have to buy the laser head. And again, I would never go as far as to say this is like a CO2 killer, but it's pretty darn comparable in terms of its speed and efficiency. If you're interested in learning more about the xTool S1, I have left an affiliate link in the description of the video just below. Hitting that link does help the channel grow and offer additional opportunities for showing you all great products. Please don't hesitate to leave any questions or comments that you have on the demonstration in the comments section below. Now, if you would excuse me, I have a lot of Smart Doll t-shirts to cut out and make. See you later.